Hello everyone and welcome back to the Drag Detective. Oh, wait, sorry, wrong intro. So I've been wanting to do this video since the beginning of Drag Duel. I was a Patreon for this season and I fell in love with the entire cast and everything they all brought to the competition. As much as I love Drag Race, it has become slightly stale for me, so I was excited to watch something that felt fresh with a more diverse and inclusive representation of the drag scene. Disclaimer, before we start discussing how Drag Duel should have went, I just want to say that you should not send hate to any of these artists. They have worked so hard with different life constraints and tight budgets, so let's appreciate queer art. This is all solely objective and opinion based, so if you don't agree, that's obviously okay too. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. So episode 1 was the iconic talent show. This was an incredible way of introducing the artists and the potential of the season. I won't go into too much detail here as I think it was pretty much perfect. I would just personally put Glass Stain in the top above Rosa Gold, as I think her talent show was more entertaining and it was just a different approach from all of the other warriors. Now, if Tyler Noel would have had a better runway this week, he absolutely would have been in the top 2 with She Needs a Woman, because his talent show just had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. But Titanic's total package for the episode was undeniably deserving of that spot. And Shanidza, the woman that you are, she bodied that talent show. She sounded great, the fire was a gag, and she clearly had the best stage presence from any of the performers in the entire competition on this episode, which was evident again in the lip sync against Titanic, so she clearly won this episode for me. Aside from that, the rest of the high placements stayed the same, as did the low placements, so let's move on to round 2. So this round was obviously one of the more controversial ones of the season. However, for me, this challenge could have easily been a double win. Orbit's audition tape was the most stamped and branded from the entire cast, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. However, on the other hand, I did love her runway and I loved the statement that it made, but it was a bit too simple. Whereas Hydra had one of my favourite runways of the entire season. However, her audition tape, it was funny, but I just didn't find it to be as consistent as Orbit's. Hence why I think a double win here was extremely deserved and not so much in the Vox Talks, which we'll get to later. There aren't any changes in the high placements, but when we get down to who's in the bottom 2 and who is just low, now that's a different story. I don't actually think that Callie was robbed this season, as much as the fans say she was anyway. I think her audition tape was really convoluted, and I did like her concept. She had a lot of good moments, but it was just slightly erratic. She also had one of my least favourite runways of the week, so I think she really is justifiably put in the bottom 3. If it was just my opinion, I would probably keep her in the bottom 2 against Trisha. After taking into account everything that the fans had to say, I decided to put Tyler and Trisha in the bottom 2. They both really struggled this week. And in regards to who would win the lip sync, this is a really tough one for me because obviously they both made it to the top 4 originally. But I think that Tyler would send Trisha home here, because Tyler's lip sync for this episode, if you were a Patreon, you would have seen it. It was really, really great, and this was not one of Trisha's best performances, so I do see Trisha going home here, unfortunately. Although, in the real season, I'm actually happy that she stayed because she made for great YouTube TV, and I just think she was an iconic character, and the season would not have been the same without Trisha Can. Round 3 was my absolute favourite round of the entire competition. This art pop ball was iconic. The music videos are just insane. Now, if Trisha Can was here this week, she would have 1000% won this challenge because I am still so obsessed with her music video. The top 3 of Christy, Tyler and Bobby stays the same, with Christy getting the win. Now, the bottoms of this round changed slightly because Glass Stain being in the bottom 2 to begin with was absolutely wild to me. But we are going to go with the assumption that she still withdraws from the competition, as I don't want to speculate on a better track record impacting her decision to stay, as I just think that's inappropriate. We have a bottom 2 of She Needs a Woman and Susan, because I just think their videos were the least successful of the bunch. That's not to say they weren't good, because I think everyone killed it this week, but they just were not my favourites. They didn't have the same impact. I think Callie would be safe here because she uploaded her music video to YouTube and it's actually really good. It could have been high, but I just think Bobby and Tyler slayed. Now this is another week that if Tyler had a better runway, he definitely would have won in my eyes, because his video was absolutely iconic and it lives in my mind rent-free. He has seriously robbed himself of several challenge wins this season just because of his runway. Additionally, I will say that I was really happy with Christy winning this challenge because she absolutely chewed both the challenge and the runway. Moving on to round 4, and I really don't have a lot to say for this round because I think the judging was pretty much spot on. The only difference being is that Callie is now in the low placement. She Needs a Woman and Christy lip sync to Give 'Em Just What They Want by RuPaul, and this is one of my favourite lip syncs of the season, but unfortunately, She Needs a Woman goes home here. Round 5 was the design challenge, which Trisha Can won originally, and rightfully so, but in this case, I would give the win to Hydra. The materials that she used and the craftsmanship that went into this look is just so beyond. Now in the high placements, I would have Christy and Susan. Christy not being in the top originally is absolutely criminal. That IKEA look is just insane. I loved it. Now in the low placement, I would have Bobby. I think Bobby and Orbit are pretty interchangeable, but Orbit absolutely slayed the lip sync this week, and we deserve to still see it. I don't want to be robbed of that fantasy. And I do think this is the week that Callie would go home here. I mean, she made it an extra 3 episodes than what she did originally, and after seeing what she posted on Instagram for what she would have done for this challenge, I still think she would have gone home here. And I just think that the others used more innovative materials and techniques than what Callie did. So unfortunately, this is where she goes home. Round 6, we had the Vox Talks, which obviously caused a lot of this season's drama with Zelda Vox. I'm not going to go into it today, just out of respect for the contestants. This is the one that I think absolutely should not have been a double win. Christy ate this episode up. Her Cher impression was hilarious and her runway was absolutely stunning. Again, one of my favourites from the season. That's not to say that Orbit didn't do a good job. I just didn't really get as much Jennifer Coolidge as I would have liked for an impersonations challenge. Now Tyler Null absolutely slayed again, and if he had a better runway, he probably could have won. So here's to Tyler robbing himself again. Bobby wasn't here for this challenge, but I do think he would place as low because I don't think he'd be able to do as good of a job as the others did. And we all know why Hydra and Rosa were in the bottom 2, so we'll leave it at that and just say that Hydra clearly wins a lip sync and sends Rosa home here. As we enter round 7, I feel like that the riggery is getting less and less, and this is just more of a subjective opinion at this point. Now the win I still gave to Tyler because it's just not up for debate. He absolutely ate this challenge. Hydra and Orbit are in the top as they originally were. The only difference we have for this episode is that we have Bobby in the competition still. I don't see Bobby doing a better job than Titanic. I know Titanic didn't really follow the rules of the challenge, but I loved Titanic's video a lot, and the dance, which was the main part of the challenge, was great. I have no qualms about the dance whatsoever. So I would put Bobby in the bottom 2 here with Christy, and I don't think there's any way that Bobby would win in a lip sync against Christy. No offense, Bobby. So Bobby goes home here, which I think he made it another episode or 2 than what he originally did. Now for round 8, the judges roast. This episode completely stays the same aside from not having Trisha Can compete in it. So Susan wins, the tops are Tyler and Hydra, and the bottom 2 is Orbit versus Christy, and Orbit sends Christy home here like she originally did. With our new top 5 of Orbit, Tyler, Hydra, Titanic and Susan, we go into round 9, which Derek himself said that this challenge is really hard to judge because it's basically about these guys' trauma, and I don't really want to judge their trauma too much. But Orbit absolutely slayed this episode, so she still wins with Tyler in the top. The only maybe controversial take I have is that Hydra is in the bottom 2 with Titanic instead of Susan. Although the lighting on Susan's video was absolutely homophobic, I still really enjoyed everything else about her performance, whereas with Hydra, it wasn't really one shot like the brief said, and I just think she over-emoted way too much with the facial expressions. It just felt too much, girl, too much. So Hydra and Titanic are in the bottom 2, and I mean, Hydra sends Titanic home here. So Titanic finishes 5th this season instead. Moving on to the last competitive episode of the season. Now Tyler absolutely tore up this ball. He gave a great redemption for his looks. I just said redemption, this is not Drag Race. Anyway, Tyler absolutely slayed, so he wins. Hydra and Orbit do an amazing job, so they make it through to the grand finale, and Susan is cut here at 4th place because I just don't see Susan doing a better job in a ball challenge than Hydra or Orbit. So going into the finale, we still have the top 3 of Orbit, Tyler and Hydra. And Hydra, of course, still wins the season because she absolutely dominated the finale. Her final performance was clearly the best of all 3 of them, so she absolutely deserved to win, plus her amazing track record all season long. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I hope you just take everything with a pinch of salt and realise that I love all of these drag artists, and this is purely just speculation based off my own opinions of the season. But I really loved Drag Duel, and I cannot wait for a season 2. Thanks you guys for watching. Bye!